Welcome back to the podcast. This week on Catch Some Soulshine, I wanted to talk about hope during grief. And it's something that's often overlooked because when we're in that deep, dark hole of grief, it's hard to see hope. But I think it's really important. One of the things I've been doing is talking to people on live Zooms and giving some insight into all that I've learned about the grieving process and this new formula that I've come up with to help people transform grief into something manageable and something that we learn to carry with grace. So, what is the role of hope during grief? Grief is heavy. But hope is the thread that keeps us moving forward. Even when you're stuck in that bottomless pit, I know for me, when Brad passed away, Willie passed away, I knew that we are all part of something bigger, some universal source, love, energy, God, whatever you want to call it. We are part of something bigger. And I also truly knew with the faith that I have that life doesn't stop after Earth. It keeps moving forward. Hope reminds you that even in the darkest times, that light is still there. It allows you to believe that healing is possible, even if it looks different than before. And when I say healing, I'm not talking about getting over grief or moving on. I'm talking about learning how to carry that grief with purpose. That's part of my purpose now because I have encountered a tremendous amount of grief in my life. I've learned how to carry it gracefully. I've learned that you can still be joyful, abundant, free, even when life throws big tragedies your way. So what are some of the things that you can do to help you with your grief process? That's where tiny habits come in, daily practices. People think, I'm just going to get through this, I'm going to get over it, and that's not how it works, or at least that's not how it's worked for me. I've had tiny moments of transformation, tiny little habits that I've put into my life, and you can put those in your life too. Some of the things that I've created for you to help you on the grief journey are things that have helped me. Stepping outside and getting some fresh air. And that's part in my lessons framework. N stands for nature. And there's a tremendous amount of research proving that nature, whether you bring it into your house in the form of plants or flowers or getting out in the midst of nature, energetically changes you. And there was one research study that I found really exciting and important is that if you get out into nature, even just putting your feet on the grass for 20 minutes every day, it reduces your cortisol levels. Now, cortisol is that hormone that is released in fight or flight when you're anxious or depressed or grief. And it perpetuates that grief feeling. And my ladies out here, cortisol is what is responsible for belly fat. Yeah. So we don't want a tremendous amount of cortisol. So just the act of getting out in nature, doing a walk, playing with some soil, doing some gardening, trimming some flowers, watering hanging baskets of flowers, or if you have plants inside and you're trimming them and watering them and loosening up the soil, 20 minutes of that a day reduces cortisol, reduces stress, helps you overcome anxiety, depression, and reduces belly fat. Another thing that I find very helpful is getting into a habit of getting up every day, doing some morning meditation. And when I first was in the depths of despair with grief, there was no way that I could sit silently and meditate. But that's why I created guided meditations for you to listen to every day. These guided meditations anchor you into the present, into the now, and help expand your energy so that you can live the best life that you can at this moment. Grief is different. It goes up and it goes down, and sometimes you're feeling great and you're like, I've got this. And then other times you plummet to the valley. That can happen like that. My husband and I went to a Neil Young concert, and if you know the story about my son Brad, he was such an old soul and he loved all the older music that we listened to, the Beatles and Neil Young and Eric Clapton, all of those. I was just having such a great time at the concert and swaying to the music. Music is another one of those things that really does aid the grieving process and helps release those endorphins. All of a sudden, the song, I don't know the name of it, but "Oh Man, Take a Look at My Life, I'm a Lot Like You." And I just started having this sensation of tears and welling up inside. I quickly moved through that with practice and the tools that I have in my tool belt. Grief can hit you at any time, anywhere, even when you're having the best time ever. But when you're anchored in these tools, it helps you pass through that at a much higher speed. That's why I encourage you to start implementing some of these in your daily practice. Lighting a candle, like creating a sacred space, is really important when you're dealing with grief, right? It's that intention that you're setting behind. I'm going to light this candle. I'm going to journal. I'm going to write down things that I'm grateful for, and that these habits will anchor you in the positive and abundant life you can experience, even when you're grieving. Sometimes you just get little glimpses of joy and happiness and abundance. But the more you practice, the more you create these tiny habits and infuse them into your life, the better you will feel. And moving forward, you create that momentum of happiness and gratitude and living your best life. Daily meditation is something that every single spiritual leader that I follow implements into their daily life. It's hard. It's not easy, and it's not a one and done thing. It's something that you have to practice over and over. So what would it be like if you got this daily meditation that you could just tap and play every single morning for 10, 15 minutes? Wouldn't that make the process easier for you? That's what I found for me. And you can find meditations here and there, but a special curated meditation just to help you on this process is what I have created for you. So please feel free to check those out. If you want more information, leave a comment after this video and I will be certain to get you the information. I can set up a Zoom with you and we can talk about things one-on-one. We cannot leave out the importance of a sacred community. Sacred communities have been going on since the beginning of time. You think of religious practices, spiritual practices, groups of people that get together to create magic or create something special. Even change makers, politics centered around groups of people that I feel should be sacred when you're determining what you want our world to look like. And it's the same with grief. We're not meant to be alone. In the recovery community, they have meetings for recovery and like-minded people to help lift you when you're experiencing trouble or difficulty maintaining your recovery. With the grief circle, we're not meant to grieve alone. A safe circle helps you feel seen, heard, and supported. That's another thing that I have specially curated in the Creative Grief Freedom Formula, this sacred community where I will guide you with transformative practices that you can put into your life every single day. I want you to remember that the grief process is not linear. We tend to think of a line, a timeline, but that's not what grief is all about. Grief is more spiral. So let's say your grief is right here, and when you first encounter a heavy grief, it's right in front of your face. But then as your life expands and grows around the grief, you start spiraling and you go through that grief. It's always a part of you. It's going to be a part of me forever. My spiral keeps moving, and I don't pass through it as frequently, and I don't stay with it as long. And that's the importance of understanding this linear concept of grief, right? I'm not telling you you're going to heal or be cured, because we're always going to have that, because we love people or things that we have lost, but they don't have to overpower our life and be right here in front. Even in the very beginning, there's creative practices that you can do. I believe in the power of creativity and art making and music, and creative expression is so vitally important when it comes to overcoming grief. Creative mark making, creative splashing, making things, keeping your hands busy is a way of expression when words seem so inadequate. So again, love never dies. So neither does the expectation that grief will ever leave us, right? And that's part of the grieving process. That's part of growth. But I just wanted to reiterate with you the importance of understanding that grief doesn't stay right here in front of your face forever. It changes and evolves over time. But you have the power to implement some practices into your life, not only to use grief as a superpower, which it can be, but to enlarge your spiritual life, your ability to make purpose out of the tragedy or the loss that you've experienced. I want you to consider checking out my Creative Grief Freedom Formula. It's got everything that I've utilized in my life to help me heal and become abundantly joyful and purposeful. The thing with creativity is when you create something, not only is it personal to you and touches your life and your heart, but let's say you pass it on to somebody else, it has the ability to touch them too. When I have chosen to create something to pass on, I have certain little things that I keep that have very special meaning. They're invaluable. You can't put a price on that. So think about that when you want to create something and move forward through the grief journey. Grief might bend you. It might be right here in front of your face. You might feel like you're never going to see anything but the dark hole you're experiencing, or you may feel like it's stuck there. It is possible to move through grief with grace, to carry it with grace, and to live happy, joyous, and free. Let me know if you want to connect with me one-to-one. I can tell you more about what I've curated because it's something special. But if you're not ready for that, you can go ahead and download my Time for Freedom journal, which is 30 days of prompts that you will get delivered directly to your inbox. And they say around 30 days to make a habit or change something. So this will be a good start for you to get going on creating a tiny habit, such as journaling, that I have found so very helpful, and start to evolve and change your grief. I will have that down in the show notes as well. If you want to grab that, go right ahead. And please get out in nature, catch some soulshine. I'm in the beautiful state of Florida. It's hot, but it's sunny and it's beautiful, and I intend to enjoy every moment of it. Thank you for joining me today on this episode of Catch Some Soulshine, and I will see you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this because that does help me get the message out to more people. If you know somebody that would benefit from what I've shared today, please share the podcast with them. I'll see you next week. Bye.